Welcome to the new video of NeuroPhilos. Get ready to dive into a gripping tale that will leave you breathless, thinking, and inspired. Whether you're here for the mystery, the drama, or the unexpected twists, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss another powerful story. Let's begin. The illusion of self-control. Why do so many people, even intelligent and motivated ones, keep repeating the same self-destructive patterns? Why do we start a goal with fire in our chest and then quietly abandon it halfway? Why do we procrastinate on the one task that could change our life, sabotage relationships that could actually be healthy, and keep making choices we already know will hurt us later? Most people reach for the same explanations. They call it laziness. They call it weak discipline. They call it insecurity, low self-esteem, a lack of grit. And because those labels are simple, they feel satisfying. They turn a complicated experience into a neat moral story. If you keep failing, it must mean something is wrong with your character. But that story is deeply misleading. Self-sabotage is not primarily a character flaw. It is often a biological conflict, a neurological tug-of-war that happens inside the brain before you even have time to decide anything. And once you see it that way, the pattern starts to make sense. Not because it becomes less serious, but because it becomes less personal. You are not broken. You are running a mind built for survival, not for modern success. Neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky explains this in a way that hits like cold water. The brain is not a single, unified commander sitting calmly behind your eyes. It is a system of systems. And inside that system, two major forces often collide. One side is your prefrontal cortex. This is the part of you that plans ahead. It thinks in timelines. It weighs consequences. It can delay gratification. It can tell you, do the hard thing now so your future becomes easier. This is the voice that creates the plan, sets the goal, writes the schedule, and imagines who you could become. On the other side is the limbic system. This is older, faster, more instinctive. It does not care about your 5-year plan. It cares about how you feel right now. It scans for discomfort. It reacts to stress. It pushes you toward immediate relief and away from anything that feels threatening, uncertain, boring, or emotionally uncomfortable. It is not evil. It is simply ancient. And in this silent fight, the limbic system often wins. Not because it is smarter, but because it is quicker. The rational brain works like a thoughtful manager. It needs time and energy. The emotional brain works like an emergency alarm. It fires instantly. If your brain senses even a small discomfort, like boredom, doubt, or the fear of failing, it can trigger an escape impulse before your conscious mind even catches up. That is why self-sabotage feels automatic. One moment you are about to start, the next moment your hand is on your phone. One moment you are determined to work. The next moment you are watching something you do not even care about. And after it happens, your mind invents a story to explain it. I'm tired. I'll do it later. Today isn't the right day. It wasn't that important. But the truth is, the decision was made underneath your awareness. Your consciousness didn't lead, it explained. This is where the modern world becomes a trap. Evolution shaped your brain in environments where danger was real and tomorrow was never guaranteed. In that world, the brain that avoided risk, conserved energy, and took rewards immediately had an advantage. Quick impulses kept you alive. Caution kept you alive. Comfort kept you alive. But today, most of the danger you feel is not a predator. It is an email, a project, a difficult conversation, a workout, a commitment. The limbic system still reacts as if discomfort equals threat, even when the threat is simply growth. And here is the most unsettling part. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. It is not designed to make you fulfilled. It is designed to keep you safe, comfortable, and alive in the short term. That is why it will repeatedly choose relief over meaning if you let it. That is why you can want change and still resist it. So the real question becomes this: if self-sabotage is a neurological conflict, not a moral failure, then how do you stop fighting with sheer willpower and start using strategy? That is where the journey begins. You are not one mind. Most people live with a comforting belief that there is a single, unified self in control. A rational mind that observes reality, weighs options, and then chooses the best course of action. This idea feels intuitive. It supports the notion that you are the author of your decisions and the owner of your behavior. But this belief is more myth than fact. Modern neuroscience paints a far less tidy picture. The human brain is not one voice. It is a collection of systems, circuits, and modules that evolved at different times for different purposes. They do not vote. They do not cooperate politely. They compete. And whichever system activates first often dictates what happens next. This internal multiplicity explains something most people struggle to understand about themselves. You can genuinely want to change and still fail to act. You can sincerely promise yourself to wake up early, focus deeply, or behave differently, and then do the opposite without fully understanding why. This contradiction is not hypocrisy, it is biology. You are not inconsistent because you lack integrity. You are inconsistent because different parts of your brain have different agendas. One part of you plans. It thinks abstractly. It imagines future outcomes and creates narratives about who you want to become. This system is deliberate and slow. It requires energy. It works best when conditions are calm and resources are available. Another part of you reacts. It scans the environment for discomfort, uncertainty, or emotional threat. It does not think in words. It thinks in sensations and impulses. It does not ask whether something is meaningful. It asks whether something feels safe or relieving right now. When these systems align, life feels easy. When they conflict, confusion appears. You experience this conflict every time you say, "I don't know why I did that." You planned one thing, but acted out another. You made a promise in the morning and broke it at night. You had clarity yesterday and avoidance today. The problem is not that you changed your mind. It is that a different system took control. This is why motivation alone is unreliable. Motivation lives in the rational, narrative-making parts of the brain, but action is often triggered elsewhere. When discomfort appears, the faster system does not consult your goals. It overrides them. Consider a simple example. You decide to work on an important project. You sit down. Within minutes, a subtle tension appears. Boredom, doubt, anxiety. Not intense, just uncomfortable. That sensation is enough to activate the older system. Before conscious thought forms, an urge arises. Check something. Do something easier. Escape. The impulse does not feel like a decision. It feels like a pull. By the time awareness arrives, the action has already begun. Only afterward does the rational brain step in and try to make sense of what happened. This is when justification appears. You tell yourself a story that protects the illusion of control. You were tired. The timing was wrong. You will do it later. In reality, the outcome was decided before the story existed. This is why self-sabotage feels frustrating and humiliating. You feel as if you betrayed yourself, but the truth is more uncomfortable. There was never a single self in charge to begin with. There were competing systems, and the faster one won. Psychology has hinted at this for a long time. Freud described it as id, ego, and superego. Jung spoke of the shadow. Today, neuroscience confirms that these ideas point to something real and physical. Different brain regions process different priorities, and they do not operate in harmony by default. Understanding this changes how you relate to failure. If you believe there is one sovereign self, every mistake feels like proof of weakness. But if you understand that your mind is divided, failure becomes feedback. It shows you which system was activated, under what conditions, and why. This is the turning point. As long as you believe that simply deciding to change should be enough, you will keep feeling trapped. But once you accept that there is no single commander inside your head, a new approach becomes possible. You stop trying to dominate yourself and start learning how to manage, redirect, and design around the systems that actually run your behavior. And that requires strategy, not force. A brain built for the wrong world. To understand why self-sabotage feels so automatic, you have to confront an uncomfortable truth. The brain you rely on every day was not designed for the life you are living now. It is the product of millions of years of evolution shaped by danger, scarcity, and uncertainty. Modern life is the opposite of that environment, and the mismatch comes at a cost. For most of human history, survival was the only priority. Our ancestors were not trying to be productive, fulfilled, or self-actualized. They were trying to avoid starvation, injury, and death. In that world, the brain that reacted quickly, conserved energy, and seized immediate rewards had a clear advantage. Long-term planning mattered far less than staying alive through the night. Those ancient priorities are still wired into you. When the brain detects uncertainty or discomfort, it treats it as a potential threat. This made sense when a wrong decision could mean death. Today, that same mechanism is triggered by emails, deadlines, difficult conversations, and creative work. The body responds as if something dangerous is happening, even when nothing truly is. This is why starting meaningful work often feels heavy. It is why avoidance feels relieving. Your nervous system is not trying to ruin your future. It is trying to protect you from what it interprets as risk. The problem is not that your brain is malfunctioning. The problem is that it is functioning exactly as it was designed to, just in a world it was never meant for. Evolution rewards what works immediately. If a behavior reduced stress or conserved energy in the short term, it became reinforced. Over thousands of generations, the brain became extremely efficient at escaping discomfort. What we now call procrastination or impulsivity was once a survival skill. Now consider the demands of modern life. You are asked to sit still for hours, focus on abstract goals, delay gratification for months or years, and push through emotional discomfort without any immediate reward. From an evolutionary perspective, this is unnatural behavior. When you try to maintain a disciplined routine or commit to a long-term project, you are asking the newest and weakest part of your brain to overpower systems that have been trained for survival for millennia. The prefrontal cortex, which handles planning and self-control, is powerful but fragile. It works slowly, uses a lot of energy, and tires easily. Meanwhile, the older systems act fast and automatically. They do not wait for analysis, they react. And because they evolve first, they often dominate. This mismatch explains why modern temptations are so effective. Social media, endless entertainment, and ultra-processed food all exploit the same circuits that once helped humans survive scarcity. These tools deliver immediate, predictable rewards. To the brain, they feel safe and efficient. Meaningful work does not offer that. Its rewards are delayed, uncertain, and invisible in the moment. From the brain's perspective, choosing comfort over progress is logical. This phenomenon is known as evolutionary mismatch. You live in a world of abundance with a brain programmed for scarcity. You are surrounded by stimuli that constantly pull attention towards short-term relief. And because the brain prioritizes now over later, those stimuli win far more often than intention. This mismatch also affects how you value outcomes. The brain naturally discounts future rewards. Something that will benefit you in a year feels less important than something that relieves discomfort right now. This is not pessimism, it is biology. Once you see this, self-sabotage stops looking like self-hatred and starts looking like obedience. You are obeying a system that was built to survive yesterday, not thrive today. The crucial shift is understanding that you cannot shame or motivate your way out of this problem. Willpower alone cannot override millions of years of adaptation. If you try, you will lose repeatedly and blame yourself for a battle you were never meant to fight directly. The solution does not come from fighting the brain, it comes from understanding its rules. When you recognize that your mind is operating with outdated software, you stop expecting it to behave differently just because you want it to. You begin asking a better question. How do I design my life so that this brain, exactly as it is, leads me forward instead of pulling me back? That question changes everything. Dopamine and the collapse of willpower. At some point, everyone has faced the same moment. You sit with two options in front of you. One leads toward a better future, but requires effort, patience, and discomfort. The other offers immediate relief. You already know which choice is better, and yet something inside you leans toward the easier path. That something is not a lack of discipline, it is dopamine. For years, dopamine was described as the pleasure chemical, but modern neuroscience shows that this description is incomplete and misleading. Dopamine is not about pleasure itself, it is about anticipation. It is the signal that tells your brain, this is worth pursuing. When you feel the urge to check your phone, open the fridge, Watch one more video or abandon a task. Dopamine is already active. It fires before the reward arrives. It pulls attention toward what is immediate, easy, and certain. And it is heavily biased. Your dopaminergic system values rewards that are close in time. The further away a reward is, the less value your brain assigns to it. This is why a small pleasure now often outweighs a meaningful benefit later. A short video feels more compelling than slow progress. A snack feels more real than long-term health. This bias is known as temporal discounting. Temporal discounting is not a flaw of character. It is an ancient survival strategy. In unpredictable environments, it made sense to take what was available now. Waiting for a future reward carried risk. Dopamine evolved to favor quick, tangible gains. The problem is that modern life exploits this system relentlessly. Endless feeds, notifications, and entertainment deliver frequent dopamine spikes with minimal effort. Each spike teaches the brain that relief is always just one action away. Over time, the brain becomes conditioned. It learns to expect stimulation. When stimulation is absent, discomfort appears. That discomfort triggers avoidance. This is how self-sabotage becomes automatic. The more often you choose immediate relief, the more those neural pathways strengthen. What starts as a conscious choice slowly becomes a reflex. Eventually, you are not deciding to procrastinate. You are doing it on autopilot. And because it feels automatic, it feels like part of who you are. Dopamine does more than influence behavior. It shapes identity. The habits you repeat become the patterns your brain expects. And what the brain expects, it pushes you toward. This is where willpower collapses. Willpower lives in the prefrontal cortex. It allows you to resist impulses and delay gratification. But this system is limited. Every time you resist a temptation, you consume energy. Every decision, no matter how small, draws from the same pool. By the time you reach the tasks that matter most, your self-control is often depleted. The rational brain is tired. The impulsive system is not. When that happens, the faster system takes over without resistance. This is why relying on motivation alone fails. Motivation fluctuates, energy fluctuates, but the environment remains constant. And if your environment constantly feeds dopamine in its easiest form, it will always win. Understanding dopamine changes the strategy completely. The goal is not to eliminate dopamine. That is impossible and unhealthy. The goal is to redirect it. When effort is always paired with discomfort and no reward, the brain learns to avoid it. But when effort is paired with something positive, the brain adapts. This is why small rewards matter. They teach the dopaminergic system that progress leads to relief. This is also why removing easy dopamine sources is powerful. When constant stimulation disappears, the brain becomes more sensitive. Tasks that once felt boring regain meaning. Focus becomes easier, not because you became stronger, but because the system recalibrated. The most important insight is this: you cannot outfight dopamine with logic. The brain does not respond to arguments about the future. It responds to patterns of reward. Self-sabotage persists because the brain is being trained every day to prefer the wrong signals. When you change the signals, behavior changes naturally. This is not about becoming disciplined. It is about becoming deliberate. Once you understand how dopamine drives your choices, you stop blaming yourself for every slip. Instead, you start asking the only question that matters. What is my brain being rewarded for right now? And that question points directly toward the solution. Reprogramming the battlefield. If the brain is a biological machine built for survival rather than long-term fulfillment, then overcoming self-sabotage cannot be a matter of force. You do not win by fighting your own mind head-on. You win by changing the conditions under which it operates. The moment you understand this, the struggle shifts from self-blame to design. Most people fail not because they lack motivation, but because they rely on willpower in environments that constantly undermine it. Willpower is fragile, context is powerful, and behavior is far more influenced by what is easy, visible, and automatic than by what is meaningful. This is where behavioral engineering begins. The first principle is to eliminate unnecessary decisions. Every decision costs energy, and each one creates an opportunity for the impulsive system to take over. High performers do not make better choices in the moment. They reduce the number of moments in which a choice is required. If you want to eat better, do not negotiate with yourself at every meal. Change what is available. If you want to work consistently, remove friction before you begin. Prepare the tools, open the document, clear the space. When action requires fewer steps than avoidance, progress happens without drama. The second principle is to reverse friction. Self-sabotage survives because it is easy. Distraction is close. Relief is instant. To change this, make the sabotaging behavior slightly harder and the desired behavior slightly easier. Small changes matter because the brain follows the path of least resistance. Logging out of distracting apps, removing shortcuts, or placing obstacles between you and temptation forces a pause. That pause gives the rational system time to engage. At the same time, lowering the barrier to productive actions increases the likelihood that they occur, even on low-energy days. The third principle is to use rewards strategically. Dopamine drives behavior through anticipation. Instead of trying to suppress it, attach it to what matters. Pair difficult tasks with small, immediate rewards. This teaches the brain that effort leads to relief, not punishment. This is not manipulation, it is retraining. Over time, the brain begins to associate progress with positive expectation. Resistance decreases, action becomes easier. Another powerful tool is turning vague intentions into automatic triggers. The brain struggles with open-ended decisions. It performs well with clear instructions. Instead of saying, "I will work later," define the moment. When it is 8 a.m., I open my notebook. These if-then rules remove choice at the point where sabotage usually enters. But even with structure, timing matters. The rational brain is not equally strong throughout the day. It has biological peaks and valleys influenced by sleep, stress, and circadian rhythm. For most people, clarity and self-control are strongest early in the day, before the mind is flooded with noise and micro-decisions. This period is a cognitive window. Protect it. Do not spend it on distractions or trivial tasks. Use it for what requires focus, courage, and intention. When you align important work with your peak mental energy, you reduce the need for discipline. You stop forcing progress and start allowing it. This approach replaces heroics with intelligence. You are no longer asking yourself to be strong all the time. You are designing a life where strength is rarely required. Self-sabotage fades when the environment no longer rewards it. The brain adapts to what is repeated. When productive actions become the default, they stop feeling heroic. They become normal. The final shift is psychological. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs fixing. You see yourself as someone managing a complex system. Mistakes are no longer proof of failure. They are data. They show you where friction exists and where redesign is needed. Once you understand the machine, you stop fighting it. You work with it. And that is how change becomes sustainable. Not through motivation, guilt, or endless self-talk, but through alignment. When your biology, environment, and timing work together, self-sabotage loses its power. Not because you became a different person, but because you built a better battlefield.